Okay, today we're going to create a journal page template on Canva, and I'm going to show you the most simplest way to create a line journal page template. 8.5 by 11, which is the US letter size, so we're going to do that. And then once that generates, we're going to go over to our editor side panel, and we're going to click on the word elements. And once that pops up, we're going to type in the word lines in the top box. And there will be several lines, but here we're just going to use the free line that comes with the basic Canva plan. Once we do that, we're going to duplicate 5 lines. And then we're going to create a selection box around it and click the 3 dots to the right. We're going to scroll down to space evenly. And then here we want to select tidy up. And what this does is cleans up the elements on the page and combine the lines into a clean line. I'm going to tidy up. And then we're going to size it to fit the screen. Not completely, right? We want to leave some border space. And then once we do that, we're going to group the lines together. And then we're going to duplicate the lines. And then once we duplicate the lines, we're going to make sure that the lines are spaced evenly. Since now we have about 10 to 12 lines somewhere along there, we're going to make sure it's spaced evenly and it fits on it nicely. And then once that is done, we're going to group the lines together again. That way we can continue to have leverage over the lines and they don't, move freely apart from each other. And we're going to size it so that it evenly fits the top to bottom of the template. And then we just play around with it to make sure it's looking how we desire for it to look. And make sure it's laid out properly and evenly on the page. And then at the top, you'll see a selection panel where you can change the size of the lines. And so I would just put another selection box over the lines to make sure I have access to all the lines and kind of like change the thickness of the lines. Grab us a text box from my editor panel. I already have my font set to the ones that I like or use the most, so we don't have to play around with the fonts. But in your case, you will probably be, finding what font you want for your particular text that you're going to put on your template. And I just typed in the word journal, and I'm going to resize it to make sure that it fits the template, and I like the way it looks. And then we're going to grab another text box. And what I like to do here is just, grab the word date and put it over to the right. And usually for me, I put the word date in cursive. It's just a personal preference. I just love the way it looks when it's in cursive. I'm going to play around with the size of it, and see which size I like the best. And then I'm going to find my font. Usually I have my font written down, but for some odd reason I cannot find the one that I prefer. So I'm going to have to look for a new one. And again, in this instant, it's best to just have a list of your favorite fonts, and it makes the process smoother and quicker, right? Because we're working to save ourselves some time. So that's what we're working to do. And so here I'm just searching for a font. And once I find one that I like, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to write it down on my little sticky pad. So, yeah, that's that. Once we get that. And then once we find a font we like, we're just going to, plug that font in, play around with the size, and then go back to our Elements tab and grab ourselves a line. Because I like to put a line next to the word. The flow of the journaling process just, more simplified and more flowy, for the lack of better words. So we're going to go and get our line element and resize it, to make it fit the design. And then as I'm looking here, I see that the middle of my lines on my template is spaced out too widely, but I'm going to readjust it. I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Let me just readjust the date and journal at the top, the text at the top, and make sure it looks how I want it to look. Okay, I like that. And then we're just going to make journal a little smaller. And then remember I told you that the lines, and then I would duplicate this. And you can have as many pages as you would like. But lastly, let's fix the space in the middle of the template. Remember, we're going to hover over it to get us a selection box so that we can ungroup the lines. Once we ungroup the lines, we adjust the lines. Y'all see that space right there? We're going to ungroup it, and then we're going to readjust the lines. And we're going to move it up just a tad bit and then group it back together, right? And there we have it, guys. We created this simplified journal page template, and it was really simple and quick, and it was a quick process as well. I know before I started creating it myself, I thought it was a hard process and it was long and time consuming, but it's so many elements and tools that Canva has in place for us creators to create freely and easily. So yeah, I hope that helped you guys. So I'll see you all in the next video. Talk to you soon.